joining us for another office hours session. As you might be able to see, we have a little bit of a different setup today. Keith and I are actually coming to you live from Houston, Texas. We're in Vark's office. Vark is another, that's Keith. Vark is another QSP and good friends of ours. So we're here doing some collaboration and some team building, and we're still jumping in here. So we have some different scenery for you today. Sorry, we don't have our typical slideshow to show you when we first start, but that's all right. You can kind of just go through that again by hand. We're going to try to keep this office hours session to be about our Quickbase add-ons. If you have any questions, we're going to start off with open forum, so please feel free to ask. And then once we're ready and we have no more questions, we're going to hand it off to James. And James is our special guest speaker today, and he's going to be able to go in and discuss our add-on TextMyQB and inbound pipelines for those messages. So I just want to start off and kind of open it up for you guys. Open forum. If anyone has any questions that they've been wanting to ask, if you could use that reaction button and give us just a quick hand raise, and we can get to your question right away, and we'd be happy to answer them. So I'll hand it off to that. Questions, comments, concerns? Everyone might be ready for that inbound pipeline, James.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I could just start by sharing my screen real quick. All right, let me know when you can see it.
Good to go, James.
Okay. So yeah, I'm back in Matt's shoveling app that we used last week for office hours to go over the outbound TextMyQB configuration. So we're going to continue to use this, but now we're going to add inbound to this as well. So pretty much inbound works a little bit differently than outbound, even just from a user point, because for you, you're not going to be doing anything to start these. It's going to be your clients or whoever. So for example, in this use case, I created a record here for myself. And pretty much the way that we had it set up last time is we'll come in here and we'll hit edit. And we'll select a message to be sent. I'll select message 1. So this, hello, James, I'm coming to shovel at your address. If I should not come, please let me know. That's getting pulled from here. And if I were to save this and then click this send text message, I will actually receive the text myself. So I'll do that for now, just so we have a message showing. But what we'll need to do is we'll need to change a couple things, and we'll use that in the inbound message. So if I hit refresh, you'll see that this message already came in and was sent to me. So now if I want to respond to Matt and say, hi, yes, please come and shovel my driveway. I'm going to want to create a new configuration, which I have here. And this is pretty much going to run with a lot of the similar fields that we used for the outbound configuration that Matt already created. But we'll just start by editing this right now. So I gave it a name. I named it the same thing as the outbound one. And for the app ID, for that, you're going to want to go just like we did before. Get it from the home page of your app. Double click here, copy that, and you'll be able to paste that right into here. Then for processing details, last time we selected outbound for the text type. This time we're going to select inbound. And we're also going to set this to enabled for the status. But if you notice that once it changed to inbound, some of these tabs changed around. In particular, the outbound tab went away and this inbound one showed up now. And just so you know, the CDINE information is already in here. And now we'll be setting up how we want to receive those text messages that I would send back. So the first thing is to check this checkbox to insert into messages received. This just lets us know that, okay, you do want to actually receive those messages. So then what I'm going to do is the first thing that I need is, since I'm going to set this up to receive them in the text activities, I'm going to grab the DB ID from here. And this is the same table that was set up before for Outbound that's storing these outbound messages. So we're going to be storing them in the same spot, but we'll have a way to differentiate which one is which. So now when I go here, I'll paste that DB ID in. And now we'll just want to store the from phone number, the message ID, and a unique message ID. We're going to use the same fields that were created before in this table. So if you'll see here, the from phone number, which we might want to change this from CDINE phone number to from phone number instead, because that might work a little bit better. This has field ID 6. The message has field ID 8. And then the unique message ID was 12. So I'll put those into here. So that from phone number, that was 6. The message was 8. And if I remember correctly, that was 12. Let me just double check that. From phone number 6, 8, and then 12 for that unique message ID. And then the last one that we're gonna want to fill in for this use case is just this CDINE phone number field ID. This will just store the value here. And since we wanna just keep track of who it was sent to, even though it's just the CDINE number, we're gonna store that in here to this to field. So that has field ID 7. So I'll put that in here. And that's pretty much it for setting this up. The other thing that we're going to want to do with this is actually create a pipeline. Because right now what this is doing, if I were to respond right now, it would create a message into this text activities table, but it won't be related just yet. So we'll have to do a couple of things. The first thing actually is I did create this new field called inbound/outbound. And this will help us determine if a record is an outbound text activity or an inbound activity. And this is just a formula field. So if I go in here, you'll see it's currently blank. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to check if this field that's currently called the activity CDINE phone number field ID is equal to this actual CDINE number. So I'll save that. I'll just create this formula here. So now if, I'll actually copy this field name because that's a little bit easier. Now if that equals what is in here, which that number is just the CDINE number that we have. So if it equals that, we'll know in this case that that's outbound. But if it's not that, then we'll know that it's then inbound. So if I hit save, we should see, okay, this activity CDINE number is equal to that CDINE number that we have here. So this then says outbound. So now that we have this set up, we actually have everything that we need for setting up the pipeline. So I do have here in our help site a whole page describing how to set up this inbound pipeline and all of the things that you need to do. There is a couple of things that you do need to swap around in here, and it is all described, especially here in step 3. But for the sake of time, I won't go through replacing everything. And I did have this set up beforehand. So, but at least what you guys would do is you would actually just come in here and copy this whole thing. And then you would go to, where was it? Yeah, so then you would go to your pipelines page. So once you have that copied, you'll see over here you have the create pipeline button, as well as this arrow right next to it. So you'll click that arrow and click import pipeline. And then you'll see this large black box here. So pretty much all you're gonna want to do is actually just paste that in there, this whole thing here into that black box, and then make all these changes with all of the different fields so that it works specifically for your app. So since I have this already set up with all these changes, I'll actually just paste this in. You'll notice too that when you paste it in, it'll give you the name that's already put in there. So if you want to change this, you can change this to whatever you want. I'll just change this to say James instead of Matt, just so I know which one it is. But now you'll click import pipeline, and pipelines will now start processing it and create it into an actual pipeline. And you see that here now. So it created all the 3 steps. And now this should actually be set up to run so that, and it is already turned on. I thought normally they start off turned off, but in this case, it is now turned on. So now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna actually open up my phone and I'm gonna send a reply back to that first text that I got. I'm actually gonna stop sharing on my computer so that I can share from my phone. Let me open this up real quick. Okay, so now you should be able to see my phone, and you can see on here that I got that message. Hello, James, I'm coming to shovel at your house. He asked me the question, please let him know that I want him to come. So I will say, yes, please come to my house. So I'll send the reply, and eventually that text is going to show up into this text activities table. And then the pipeline is going to notice that, and it's going to create the relationship between that text activity and the record that we originally sent the text from. Let's see if it finished by now. It hasn't yet. Oh, but if you see here, the pipeline is saying that it started. So once this pipeline actually starts running and processes everything, we'll actually see
You're still showing your phone.
that is correct. Sorry about that.
I do have to admit, I'm quite impressed that you had the phone able to be shown. That was pretty cool.
Yes.
It's probably better than me trying to hold my phone up being like, can you guys see this?
Yeah. We figured too, since I'm sending the text out, we would need that. But yeah, so now you can see my screen on my computer and not my phone. But if we check now, back at this record here, I think it might be finished by now. Yep, you'll see this message came in. Yes, please come to my house. So now Matt knows, okay, I'm gonna go to James's house and shovel his driveway. So that's the inbound pipeline. And actually, yeah, just so we see it here too, this inbound outbound field now says inbound because I sent the image or sent the text inbound to the app.
Hey, James, this might be a big ask on the spot, but do you know how you'd potentially be able to color the record, just like the demo app, to show if it's inbound, show blue or something like that?
Yes. Where do I have this?
Hitting you with questions on the spot.
It's totally fine. So yeah, pretty much what you'll want to do is whichever report that you want that to actually be shown on with the different colors, you'll actually just want to edit the report. So we know that it's from the text activities, so we'll open this up. So yeah, just to get to there, we'll actually open up the form properties, which isn't normally, but you'll see here the embedded for houses, and you'll hit change settings. So now here you're basically just modifying the report. And what you can do is, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll get to this color coding section. And here you'll be able to say, okay, assign colors to choices in, you'll select a field. In this case, we set it up for the inbound, outbound. So here they already defaulted to some things. I'll change the colors around. So I'll change outbound to be blue and inbound to be green. So then you'll hit save. And you can see here already, just from the preview that they're showing, here's all the blue ones and here's the green one. So this green one was the inbound that I just sent. So now if we get out of here, you'll see that's where the colors are showing up. So that would be how you could color the report based on if it's inbound or outbound, just to get at a quick glance, oh, okay, there's a green record. I know that I just got a response.
That's great. That was awesome. Good job, James. That was great.
Thank you.
So based off of everything James just explained, he kind of went through how to do this setup. Does anyone have any questions on TextMyQB inbound or outbound? We did go over the outbound setup last week, so you can refer to that if you have any questions on why, how we got to this point. But we're also happy to answer any questions on that right now for those of you who may not have attended last week. And if you don't necessarily want to come on and take your microphone off, you could also type the question into the chat, which we are monitoring. James, I think you did too good of a job explaining.
I guess so.
Hey, James, since we do have a little bit of extra time, if you wouldn't mind, could you potentially pull up that YAML again and just kind of explain where they would find some of that stuff? The slug might be a little more self-explanatory. How did you guys test this with international numbers? Andrea, great question.
I think I could answer that. So for the international numbers, I don't know if you currently have TextMyQB, but since we do this with CDINE, that's where we get the phone numbers from, you would actually just have to, when you create your account with CDINE, let them know that you would be texting to international phone numbers, and they'll give you one that will allow you to do that. So, and I guess actually also, where do I have this open? So in the configuration as well, once you have that phone number that's allowing for international texts, you would just check this is international DID checkbox here.
Hey, James, not to throw another thing at you right on the spot. Is there any chance you could show an inbound attachment, such as an image? We may need to make a new field. Maybe?
Yeah. For that, we would need a new field. So it would still be in this text activities table. So in here, we'll just create, I'll just call it image, and we'll make it a file attachment field. So now if we open this one up again, we'll see, all right, we now have this image field here. So now in the configuration for the inbound, all you'll actually have to do once you have that field in there is in this attachments field ID, you'll just include that in there, just like that. Just for this example, we just have one, but let's say you are thinking that maybe you'll have 5 files that are sent to you, you'll just create 5 file attachment fields and separate all of the field IDs with the periods like that. But yeah, we just have that one field, so you would hit save and close. And then in the text, if somebody sends an image or any file actually, we'll see that show up in that inbound image field here. Right, so I actually just sent a text with an image. I should have shared my phone screen. Sorry about that. But that should be showing up shortly. Yes, you see here, I just sent the word test. If you don't open this up here, you'll see, okay, there's a test image right here that I just sent from my phone. So if we go back to here, the pipeline doesn't look like it finished running just yet, but once it does, we'll actually see that here, and you can add that file attachment field to the report, and you'll be able to see it then that, okay, we received an image.
James, you're making it look too easy. That was awesome.
Thank you.
So based off everything James just went over, again, I want to open it up. If anyone has any questions on TextMyQV, inbound or outbound, we'd be happy to answer those. Also, if anyone has any questions about any of our add-ons, now would be the time, and you can definitely ask. If not, no worries. So as always, this recording will be shared after, and you'll be able to access this on YouTube. So if you want to follow along with what James was able to demonstrate today, you absolutely will be able to. And just kind of last call for questions potentially.
I actually suppose that I have one as I'm looking at the help page myself.
All right.
And it would definitely be helpful for me. I know before, James, when you were talking about putting the pipeline together, you didn't exactly want to break down the YAML here. But for someone like me who's a little more, base level, would you kind of be able to go through briefly kind of where you're finding everything that needs to be plugged in here?
Yeah. So like I said before, pretty much all that stuff is explained right here, but since we have the time, might as well go over it here. So pretty much what this green value here is, that's just what Pipelines calls as a slug. That's pretty much just your user token access within Pipelines. If you've created a pipeline before, you'll already have this slug, but if you haven't created a pipeline before this, it's best to create one, just a blank one, just so we can get a slug, and you'll fill that into here. You could also reference that one that you just created, as long as it has one step within Quickbase. I could actually kind of show that a little bit. So let's say, just for example, if we're looking at these pipelines here, this one I know was set up with the first step being Quickbase. So if you want to get that slug, what you can do is click on these 3 dots and click on export. So this will open up just the YAML for this existing one already. And you'll see, you'll have it right there. So you'll get that through there. And that's the same for all of these. You'll put that same value in there. So then for some of these other ones, so here are these purple fields. These are actually just the field IDs for the unique message ID, the related client, and then that inbound outbound field that we worked on today. And that's just, you'll put those in there, and basically in the same format where it's one field ID, comma, space, another field ID, comma, space, and then the third one. This red text here, this is just the DB ID of that text activity table. So you'll be able to get that like we did before, straight from here. Once you're in that text activities table. And then for these, this blue and then this goldish color. So this is just the message ID on the master table, and then the DB ID on the master table. So in this use case, it would be house. For some of you, it might be client. It might be anything else really, wherever you're sending the text from. So from here, that would actually just be this unique message ID field. So you right click, that would be 17 in this use case. And like we did before, you would get the DB ID straight from the URL. And then the last thing that you'll, or I guess some of the other things you'll need to change is this line here. This really just will change if you named things differently. So for example, here we have message ID, and then we also have unique message ID. And you'll see here down below for the light green one, it says with the field in the clients table, which in that case would be our house table. So that would then be unique message ID. And you'll want to make it so that all of the letters are lowercase. And if you have any spaces in there, those are changed to an underscore, kind of like how you see here. And then a very similar thing here. Here we have unique message ID. That's the only part that you will change. You won't change the curly brackets or the A and the period. You'll leave those. But since that's going to be in the text activity table, here we'll replace it with activity unique message ID FID. But all of it's going to be lowercase, and any spaces become underscores. And then the last thing that you would change is just this related underscore client. And that's another one where it's just based on the name. If it happens to be the same, you wouldn't have to change it. But that would actually just be, if we go into the field settings for this, in our case, it would be related house. Because that's just the field that's actually connecting the two tables together through the relationship. But yes, that's actually all of the things that you would need to change in here. So
Appreciate that, James.
you're welcome.
Great explanation, James. Thank you.
Thank you.
So after that, again, I'll leave it open. If there's any questions, now's the time. If not, I think we're gonna maybe wrap up a little early today. As I quickly mentioned prior, we're in a little bit of a different realm. So as I mentioned, we're over in Houston and we're visiting VARC, and we have the team here, and we have got lots of work to do, and we're eager to get back to it. So we want to give you guys your time, but if there's no questions, we're gonna wrap this one up. James killed it. There's I don't think there's a single question needed.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys all joining us today. We'll give you half an hour of your time back, and we'll see you next week for another office hours session, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.